For our next speech, we will travel to 19th century Lebanon to celebrate the words of Zainab Fawwaz, a prolific essayist, novelist, poet, and dramatist. As a child, Fawwaz was taught to read and write by the lady of the ruling family in Lebanon, where she was employed as a child. As an adult, she moved to Egypt and used her writing as a platform for promoting women's rights to education and participation in the public sphere. She is perhaps best known for creating the first anthology of influential women in the Arab world. Her 1891 piece, Fair and Equal Treatment, drew criticism from religious and political quarters of the time. Joining us today to share Fawwaz's words is spoken word artist, poet, and writer Jamila Gore. Absolutely. Ms. Gore has facilitated and hosted poetry slams and performs poetry throughout the Pioneer Valley. She's currently involved with NorthamptonPoetry.com and participates in poetry slam competitions that will hopefully lead her to represent the Northampton Slam team in the 2015 National Poetry Slam in Oakland, California. Go team. She has also participated in activism against police brutality locally and in New York City. She's currently working on a memoir and putting together a book of poetry. Please welcome to the podium Jamila Gore, reading as Zainab Fawwaz.
The esteemed writer says that no one has really tried yet, as they should, to understand what it is to be a woman and what it is to be a man. Rather, she sees those who strive for women's equality trying to equalize man and woman merely through the kinds of work they perform. This, she says, is a false way to proceed. It will bring evil consequences on the female sex in general, inevitably causing great distress and heavy misfortune. For nature recompenses those who transgress its system with grief and pain. She goes on in this vein, directing censure at the women of England for having demanded participation in politics. Sage reader, contemplate how the human being is small in body, yet great in the world. Weak in the true state of things, yet strong by deed. Coming upon difficulty, a person overcomes it through the power of human intelligence. When one assails problems with zeal, they yield in ready obedience. Were it not for the firmness of the human being's will, then the slightest stumble would have forced a retreat from his aims, and the tiniest shock would have barred him from following the road to attainment of his goals. Without human will, it would not have been decreed that the human leave behind the noose of the primitive state of existence in favor of the arena of civilization. For woman was not created in order to remain within the household sphere, never to emerge. Woman was not created to be involved in work outside the home only when it was directly necessary for household management, child-rearing, cooking, kneading bread, and other occupations of the same sort? No, upon my life. Rather, the practices to which women are accustomed permit them to acquire work in all arts and skills. As for household management and child-rearing, these are natural and instinctive aptitudes for women without much difficulty. Whether those women are in a state of primitiveness or not, for even primitive women manage their households and raise their children to the best of their abilities and circumstances. One writer expresses her presumption thus: just as it is impossible for humankind to transform vapor into gold or iron, so it does not behoove woman to leave her household sphere. But the fact is that we have not seen any of the divinely ordered systems of law, or any law from among the corpus of religious law in Islam, ruling that women is to be prohibited from the involvement of the occupations of men. Nature has nothing to do with this. I do not think that if this were to happen, the sun would change its path, nor would the water of the seas become sweet. But woman is a human being as man is, with complete mental faculties, acumen, and equivalent parts, capable of performing according to her own abilities and distinguishing among times and places. How many a woman has ruled over men, conducted the business of state, determined statutes of law and behavior, recruited soldiers, gone forth into battle, and carried out wars, like queens who ran their kingdoms superbly, those who have preceded us, about Cleopatra Zenobia, Queen of Palmyra, Elizabeth, and others who have come before us. Yes, and history has told us about the women of the Arab Bedouin, how they participated with the men in work and wars, how they exposed themselves to danger, how they suffered great tribulation and difficulties, even though they were wives and mothers.